April 22nd, 2025, 1:30 p.m. The beautiful Baisaran meadow in Kashmir's Pahalgam, India, Switzerland, was brimming with excited tourists when the situation turns extremely ugly in a matter of minutes.
तेरा धर्म क्या है? हिंदू या मुसलमान? मुसलमान, चल कलमा सुना, बोल, पैंट उतार, हिंदू, जा, मोदी को बता.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi and India are unanimous.
The perpetrators will not go unpunished.
Why did Pakistan and its terrorists suddenly attack tourists in Kashmir after more than 30 years? Who is this mysterious terror group they created and how was the attack planned? Did India's security apparatus falter in any way? And could this possibly lead to an all-out war? And how the forces are chasing terrorists in the dense jungles? Manjunath Rao, a businessman from Shivamoga, Karnataka, had come on a fun holiday with his wife and son for the first time in Kashmir. A 26-year-old Indian Navy officer, Lieutenant Vinay Narwal, had come with his wife on their sweet honeymoon, as did another defense personnel, IAF Corporal Tage Helyang from Arunachal Pradesh. Intelligence Bureau Officer Manish Ranjan was also chilling on vacation with his family. Yatish Bhai Parmar had stopped there to enjoy with his 17-year-old son Smith during a Ram Katha trip. State Bank employee Sailesh Kaltia from Surat, US returned Bitan Adhikari with wife and child, Raipur businessman Dinesh Mirania celebrating his wedding anniversary, 3 men from Maharashtra's Dombivli, 2 from Pune and 1 from Navi Mumbai, all with their families. From Kochi to Kanpur, Kolkata to Raipur, all of India, as well as a foreigner from Nepal, were all there to enjoy the beauty of Kashmir. But the poor souls had no idea that from the dense pine forests, clad in camouflage and khaki, a group of 4 to 6 terrorists with AK-47s and American-made M4 carbines emerged out of nowhere and began brutally harassing the tourists by segregating them by their religious identities.
क्या है तेरा मजहब? हिंदू या मुसलमान? मुसलमान, कलमा बोल, बोल.
And for nearly the next 25 agonizing minutes, shooting dead the Hindu men among them at point-blank range, even as other terrified tourists fled helter-skelter or tried to hide. Panicked women removed their bindi to conceal their Hindu identity and chanted in a desperate bid to survive.
Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar.
But so barbarous were the terrorists that they dragged some tourists out of tents. Then the bastards started the cameras they had mounted on their helmets, recording the targeting of people buying snacks or riding horses, or simply when they were just sitting, to use these as propaganda videos in their radical online groups of young people. In the end, 25 tourists, all men who had come to enjoy with their families, were unfortunately martyred in the attack. Manjunath's wife Pallavi begged the attackers,
मुझे और मेरे बेटे को भी मार डालो.
but they spared, scared and threatened her and other wives.
जा, मोदी को बोल इसके बारे में.
One brave horse rider, Syed Adil, tried to fight and snatch a terrorist's rifle, but he too was silenced. While pony handlers, hawkers and guides who initially fled in fear returned later and carried the wounded down the 6-kilometer trail to safety on their ponies. It was only around 3:45 p.m. that the police along with the CRPF and army personnel rushed to the scene. Why so late? That's later in the video. But by that time, terrorists had already fled, leaving behind uncountable bullet casings and dead bodies of unfortunate tourists. The security forces quickly launched a large-scale search operation across Pahalgam, Anantnag and surrounding forests. Home Minister Amit Shah flew to Srinagar to hold security review meetings, and Prime Minister Narendra Modi cut short his Saudi Arabia visit and proclaimed, India will identify, track and punish every terrorist and their backers. The National Investigation Agency took over the probe and appointed an Inspector General rank officer-led team to collect witness statements and scene evidence. By 23rd April afternoon, agencies released details of the terrorist suspects Hashim Musa aka Suleiman Shah and Abu Talha, while 2 locals, Adil Thokar from Anantnag and Asif Sheikh from JK's Sopore. Still, in Uri, 2 different terrorists had the gall to try to infiltrate the border, but the Indian army fiercely neutralized them. This was the deadliest terrorist attack on tourists ever and the deadliest Pakistan-sponsored attack in Jammu and Kashmir since the 2019 Pulwama attack. After the abolition of Article 370 in 2019, there were border-level and backdoor diplomatic talks that even led to a ceasefire at the LOC in 2021. And Jammu and Kashmir elections also took place with much fanfare in 2024. Tourism was booming and over 2.3 crore tourists visited Jammu and Kashmir in 2024, generating employment for locals as well. All was quiet, apparently because Pakistan was under FATF sanctions, from which they were only recently released. However, for the last 6 years, Lashkar-e-Taiba had created its shadow proxy, the Resistance Front, a name to dodge scrutiny, and which had started to grow under its commander and Lashkar head Hafiz Saeed and his deputy Saifullah Kasuri, a key plotter of this attack. He started with recruiting disgruntled Kashmiri youth online, specifically those that had no previous history of any overground activity, inciting them to oppose the grant of domicile certificates to non-locals, specifically Hindus in Kashmir. Then radicalize those with particular fervor by handing out pistols and grenades to carry out attacks and then vanish into the crowd, leaving no footprint for agencies. Out of the 60 to 75 terrorists active in the valley, 25 belong to this shadowy TRF group. Signs of something big were there, with a spike in encounters in Jammu, where over 144 terrorists were killed and 50 army personnel have been martyred in the last couple of years. In June 2024, in Jammu's Riyasi district, these terrorists had ambushed a bus of 50 Vaishno Devi pilgrims. 9 were killed when the vehicle fell into a deep gorge. In October 2024, at the then under construction tunnel at Gagangir, which now connects Kashmir to the rest of India all year round, TRF terrorists brutally killed 6 migrant laborers and even a doctor at site. Just a few days before the attack on April 18th, its Rawalkot POK operative Abu Musa made a provocative speech. Jihad will continue, guns will rage, and beheadings will continue in Kashmir. Guess what? 2 days earlier, on April 16th, the Islamist Pak Army Chief Asif Munir dog whistled back to them. Kashmir was and will be our jugular vein. We will not forget it. And raked up anti-Hindu rhetoric. We are 2 nations, not one. We are different from Hindus. Proving that the army elite combine of Munir Musa were Chor Chor Mauseri Bhai. Well, the Pakistan army had started to become extremely unpopular in Pakistan after ousting the popular Imran Khan and installing an unpopular puppet government of the Sharifs, even as its economy was in the doldrums. Having to face humiliation when they were hit by a terror attack of Baluchi insurgents, on which we will come up with a video soon, which Pakistan accuses India of having a hand in, mind you, without proof. So was this Pakistan's retaliation for it? Also, the attack was a threat to China's BRI projects in Balochistan and a spanner in Pakistan's wooing of American investment for Balochistan's $8 trillion untapped rare earth mineral reserves. While Gulf states too are done with Pakistan and have refused to open up their coffers. India had already been playing Pakistan by ignoring its repeated requests to talk about Kashmir. So basically, Pakistan now stood isolated and was desperate to get global attention via Kashmir. Opportunity was ripe with US Vice President J.D. Vance visiting India and then Prime Minister Modi visiting Saudi, similar to 25 years ago in March 2000 when terrorists killed 34 Sikhs in Chhattis Singhpura village of Anantnag at the time of the visit of the then US President Bill Clinton. Another factor surely that perhaps left Munir and his ISI furious and aghast was India's successful extradition of Tahawwur Rana from the US a few weeks earlier. A story which we recently did in great detail. This was part 1. We want to give you the best behind the scenes research and animation. That's why we will bring part 2 next week. It will contain how the attack was planned, India's security lapse and corrections taken, Modi government's response to Pakistan, and forces chasing the terrorists. Stay tuned. Bizbo's Limerick. They slaughtered with hatred and lies, trained under Pakistan's vulture-like skies. But India's roar will shake every shore till each masked demon dies. You will also find these sources listed in our video description section.